All right.
Getting your took
Home
your
from
Crocs off? You
Yeah,
lost
I
the
go up
Crocs?
and down to do laundry, and so I wear Crocs in the building. For those of you at home, I live in an apartment. Okay, I live in a box, and
We all
part of
live in
so,
boxes.
so well, but some people have their own box. We kind of live in a box under a different box on top of another box, and other human beings live in those other boxes. That's all.
You're right.
Anyways, in the basement box, there's laundry, and so I go up and down in Crocs. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I always find a segue. That's the producer brain in me. Hey, welcome to World's Greatest Dad, the youth episode. Pew 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 pew. I don't know if that's cool. This is we're going to talk about Crocs at some point, because this is an episode about. Yes, we are dads. Yes, this is World's Greatest Dad. Of course, we are the world's greatest dads, and so are you, Dad, listening. We are all. That's kind of the cheat. Is we're all the world's greatest dads. Sorry, spoiler. But we can
Yeah.
also be the better world's greatester dads, and that's or we want to maintain our greatestness.
Yeah.
But anyway, part of being a world's greatest dad, is being in the know. Understanding what the kids are talking about. And certainly, we don't all need to become those insurance commercials where they say, we can't stop you from becoming your parents, but we can save
Mm.
money on car insurance. What brand is that? I
It's
always
a great campaign.
great
It's a
campaign, but
fit
you know what?
amazing.
I can't even remember the name of the insurance company, which makes me think, it's so funny. There are all these great ads, and if you
You're
can't
right.
connect it back to the
You're
brand,
right.
does it do it a disservice? I know it's not Geico, because Geico was the first kind
Yeah.
of car insurance company that started to do the funny things, and then people kind of followed suit. Other brands had done it. Like you remember the
What
classic
is
"What's
it?
up?" That was
There was
Budweiser.
that
Is it
one. I
Budweiser?
mean, Dennis Haber, Allstate, are you in good hands? State Farm,
Sure.
we are farmers. State Farm guy. What's so weird is I'm coming up with every freaking thing, but I can't think of
State Farm is Jake. I mean, yeah, but no,
Yeah.
I cannot for the life of me remember which is the. Anyway, you don't have to turn into your parents, is the point. And you can stay cool and hip. And I'm going to find this clip and we're going to put it in post. But I saw this clip a long time ago of Conan O'Brien, who I love, talking about staying young, staying relevant, and
Mm.
that he talked about these clips from the 60s, I guess, of talk show hosts making fun of the Beatles, right?
Right.
And kind of lampooning the Beatlemania,
Mm-hmm.
and that this is music
Mm-hmm.
for young girls, and which is a whole other thing of stew of misogyny and ageism.
Stew.
Yeah, well, lots of things are a stew. I love stew. Just throw it in the stew. But no, Conan talked about all these clips that you could find people making fun of the Beatlemania, making fun of the Beatles, making fun of Beatles fans, and looking
Mm-hmm.
back decades later, going how out of touch you were, how tone
Mm-hmm.
deaf you looked. Quite similar to any clip I see of Bill Maher at any time in any era. He's perpetually out of touch with
I
reality
he kind of
to people. Yeah,
I used to like Bill Maher, and I get what he does, but it just, I don't know why I think he gets under my skin more than freaking JD Vance.
can I tell you why?
Maybe
Can I tell you
not.
why I think? I'll tell you my theory. I
Yeah.
think it's a lack of curiosity, because you can be confident in your beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he is genuinely curious about other people's. I think he's one of those people who is constantly thinking about what am I going to say next? How am I going to prove my point? How am I going to defeat you? Whereas, and he's not perfect, believe me, I have plenty of issues with Jon Stewart, but I believe Jon Stewart genuinely
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
listening to his guests.
Right.
Not to
100%.
say he hasn't talked over people or been in the wrong,
Yeah.
and still is wrong, on certain matters to this day. But I believe there is an openness to growing and learning, and those are my favorite people, my favorite comedians, my favorite writers, my favorite just
Yeah.
human beings to talk to, are the people who can go, oh, that's interesting. I haven't thought about it. That's really interesting. And I don't think Bill Maher is unfortunately capable of that sentence or
Yeah.
that ability to kind of
He's been on. It's just gone on too long. It's just gone on too long.
Well,
This is
but,
a world's greatest.
yeah.
It's just gone
Anyways,
on too
so
long.
okay, we're not here to talk about old boomers who think they're young and can't. Oh, by the way, that's another thing. Bill Maher, stop dyeing your hair. Like we all know, we know your age. You are a mid to late 60s man. Bill Maher,
Yeah,
stop. It's enough. It's enough. Just
yeah.
be gray, be white. It's fine. Um, so with that said, this is an episode
Amazing.
devoted to staying young, being young, learning. There was another thing, and I don't know if you heard this, Ollie. Growing up, it was like you're old when you hear the name of the host and musical guest for Saturday Night Live, and you no longer recognize who either of those people or groups are. And I would say that has started for me. I'm 50-50. Usually I'll know, like Sabrina Carpenter. I'm like, oh yeah, and she was doing double duty last week, so I knew both of them. I was like, oh, I know the
Yeah.
musical guest and the host. But oftentimes I'm like, I have never heard of this person.
Yeah.
That's a sign. That's a sign. I'm getting up there, right? It's a 50-year-old
Yeah.
program.
Yeah. And I mean, to the point of this is, you have to put in the work. You always did. It's just that you get older and you're like, meh, I don't care. I think the get off the lawn moment is also just going, I just don't care. I will tell you this though, I do catch myself, being truly old man when I'll just like look out the window and I'm like, who are these people? Like, why are all these cars parked on the street? Like, and it's a knee-jerk reaction that I keep to myself. But this is the sign of, I will be a crazy old man. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
You're worried that your neighbors are having people over, or what? What's the issue
I'm
here?
just like, what's the crowds about? I'm just like, who are these people? I'm generally fearful. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Who are these people?
Yeah.
What are they doing here?
Yeah.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting too. I mean, obviously this is World's Greatest Dad, and we talk about being dads, and a lot of that has to do with having children and what our what our kids expose us to, and vice versa. And it's funny because you have a 13-year-old, I have a 7 and 5-year-old, and our kids expose us to very different things, And I think there were some things that you missed because they maybe didn't exist yet, like Bluey or Peppa Pig or
Yeah.
Baby Shark. These are things
Yeah.
that I came
Don't
up
know
with
it.
my kids, or Blippy, that you just didn't have access to. Possibly a good thing, possibly a neutral thing. You just had your own different, baby, toddler programming and pop culture and things to consume. But I'm curious where you are now, because I know that Heath, you've talked about, has a lot of interest in anime and different types of music. What is
Yeah.
what's the ratio of stuff you're exposing him to versus he's exposing you to, and what is kind of like the coolest? What are some of the coolest things he has introduced you to?
I mean, by far, the big thing is rap music is really popular amongst his peer group. He loves Tyler, the Creator. He's playing me stuff, so it's quite pivoted. He's never been interested in my music from a young age. I remember he was 2 or 3, and I think I played Wilco, and he screamed. He's like, "Get that noise out!" He didn't. So I never went too far into that. He's very musically inclined. He plays trombone and piano. He has an ear for lyrics and stuff like that. I butcher them all. So he's always been into music, but he's very, very, very much into rap, which also, a little plug for our Substack account. I'm very proud of our latest post, Dad Hack, where I used the phrase 6'7", because that's a huge thing. 6'7". Oh yeah, he's all over that. That has literally been the last 3
wasn't
weeks.
planning on getting to this till later, but you brought it up, so let's talk 6'7".
Yeah, 6'7".
Talk
I mean, it's
6'7",
literally.
Ollie.
Yeah,
Let's talk
6'7". I mean, look. These are things. I am knee deep in this era where all of a sudden you're like, what are these insano words that are coming out of my kid's mouth all the time? Like 6'7". Last year, it was obviously skibbity toilet,
Yeah.
Riz. A lot of it is TikTok
Mm.
stuff, you know,
Well, let me
TikTok
tell you,
memes. If
because
you, yeah,
I've got I'm working on a research paper about 6-7, and by
lay it
that I
on me.
mean maybe a Substack, maybe at some point. But I actually look, I've got kind of armchair theories on this, right? Because
Hmm.
I think 6-7 is a test. They are testing us. They are testing the olds. They want to see how annoyed, upset they can make you every time they say it. And I don't think I think it is a new manifestation of this type of dissent and behavior from preteens, teens against kind of, let's just say again, the elders, the old people, the people in charge, but I don't think it's new. And I think if you
No,
search your
exactly.
skull, you'll think back to when you were in high school, when you were in middle school. And did you guys ever do this?
I'm aware of it. Yeah, yeah,
The slow
yeah,
clap that would
yeah,
just drive teachers insane for
yeah.
no reason, out of nowhere. Did you ever, when there was a sub, maybe switch seats, pretend you were a different name? You know, these types of things, these types of small acts of resistance,
Hmm.
they're actually, I think, very formative and very normal and not new. And so
No,
it is interesting because I think that like there is a tendency to talk about how this is it doesn't mean anything. 6-7 doesn't mean anything, and it's a brain rot, and the kids are getting dumber. And is that really any different from people saying they're just watching TV all day, they're just playing video games all day,
yeah,
or take it even further back, oh, they're just at the theater, in ancient Greece, they won't stop watching plays. It's enough. They can't stop watching plays.
yeah.
They're watching Odysseus, and then they're watching Oedipus, and then they're
Right.
watching Electra. It's enough with the plays.
Yeah.
And so, this is to say, not to over intellectualize 6-7, although I'm sure I've already done that ad nauseum. Let's continue. I
Hmm.
think 6-7 is actually a sign that the kids are all right, that the kids have a healthy dose of just kind of twisting, the knobs of us olds and saying, hey, this is a safe, non-threatening way for us to show I have some autonomy.
Hmm.
I can take control. I can be part of an in-group, part of a community. I
Yes.
think it's quite normal and natural and part of evolution. So I'm going to go on the record as I'm pro 6-7.
Yeah, no, and I'm right there with you. I literally had an article sent to me. So a like Skrilla, who created 6-7, was just in town performing, and he got the whole crowd to say 6-7. It's all over the place. I because of proximity, been someone who's like, oh yeah, skibbity toilet, and I am so distantly removed from being on the cutting edge of this kind of vernacular and stuff, but at the same time I'm exposed to it. And what's been interesting is as an old man trying to go, hey, look at me, 6-7, no cap, I'm just dealing with all this stuff and, listening to this language and decoding it because, I'm hearing it all the time. What's been interesting is when I explain it to people who don't have kids, who are a little younger. And what's really fascinating is I was in a room full of college kids giving a little chat with the journalism class. And I was like, oh, yeah, skibbity toilet. And the moans and groans I heard from these college kids about that, they were like, whatever. And maybe it's because it was a journalism class. Who knows? But I think to get to the point of what you're saying is, you know, and I actually I'm going to quote my own Substack, our Substack. In the end of the day, the future belongs to the youth. They are driving. What culture will be shaped into being. And also, if we just get in, let's boil it back down to the nature of our society in America. Why is 18 to 34 the most important demo? Because they're out there buying all kinds of crap. They're buy, crap, 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 crap. And then you get to 34, you get to being married, you get to being a world's greatest dad, and you're like, wait, I have a new cheat code. I'm not going to go out and spend, $30 for a martini because I'm already married. I could just sit at home and have a glass of wine. And, we're just not driving just this nonstop commerce train but they are, and they're looking for the new, and they're also, as much as they're forming their personalities, and just kind of exploring who they are in the world, they are creating the new cultural kind of norms. And that's what 6-7 and Skibbity Toilet's about. And guess what? TikTok is the new MTV, and this is what it is.
Say more about that too, because MTV just shuttered its doors after 40 years. I am 40,
Yeah.
and so I think again another prescient sign that we're not so young. I worked with a lot of you know the people who are a generation up from me all came from MTV, and they still had kind of that cool musk on them that I think the people maybe a
Musk.
generation below
Yeah.
thought, MTV's not cool anymore. But I
I
think
know.
because it was so exciting when they came up, you
Agree.
remember that feeling, and well, we did it this way, and we would stay all night, and it's just like, yeah, but it's not even music anymore, and so this was, and I'm talking like 10, 15 years ago, this was already the feeling. So,
Right.
um, so tell me about TikTok as the new MTV. What do you mean by that?
Well, look, I mean, and as someone who was late to the train on TikTok, and now that I'm experiencing it like the way we all experience it, which is I'm turning on my phone, I'm looking at my phone first thing, last thing, right? First thing and last thing I look at is my phone or whatever. TikTok is the TV clicker. It is. I have cable TV, and when I experienced this later because my dad was so cheap he didn't get cable TV till I was already out of college. I don't know. I was like, you got it now? This whole time I could have had it growing up? Unfair. And what's funny is when you never had cable TV and then you get it, what you would do is just go boom, 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 boom. I can't decide. I can't decide. There's like everything on and nothing's on at the same time. And that literally is TikTok. More so, I think, than Facebook, Instagram, whatever. It is just click, 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 click. And, TikTok, I think, is a game, is probably the disruptor of social media, like it's so far beyond. I kind of like MTV being like, whoa, we're just, what? This is what this is? This is like confusing and not designed to make sense. Like when you look at like crazy music videos at the onset of music videos, it wasn't just like a band that was playing a song. Like I remember in the early 90s there was a band called Extreme, and we watched the video, and I remember my friend going, I love this because it's so simple, it's black and white, they're just playing music. And you're like, right, because that's what they do, they're musicians. But we exploded with like high concept short films, and they were odd and weird and stuff. And I think that's exactly what's happening on TikTok, especially when you get into stuff like Skibbity Toilet. You know what I mean? Skibbity Toilet is cutting
Yes.
edge.
Right. Well, and
So,
that's so interesting. I never thought about the comparisons between um TikTok and early, cable, the explosion of, I guess, cable TV and youth cable TV, and that's really interesting. Huh.
think
I
about this: the astronaut planting the flag on the moon, and then someone like my dad, who, let's take away the whole immigrant component. This guy moved to America in 1962 and was like, okay, this is the culture. I don't know if the Beatles had come yet. He was like, oh yeah, Dick Cavett and whatever was on, I don't know,
Sure.
Howdy Doody. Like almost like late 50s style TV.
Yeah.
A guy like that, when he probably saw MTV, he was like, we're never getting cable at my house. Is like us now going, what is this TikTok stuff? But you know what?
Sure.
I embrace it. I embrace it because
Well,
the youth are the
it's
future.
interesting though. You bring up an interesting point about obviously we're talking about youth culture and our own youth, and then our parents' youth, and then just culture in general. But I guess part of it, and I don't really have an answer, but I want to open this up for conversation because I find it fascinating, is the death of the monoculture. And what I mean by that is, when my dad was a kid, he would tell me, well, he wouldn't tell me this when he was a kid because I wasn't born, but he would tell me about when he was a kid. And he said, when I was a kid, we had three channels. And I know
Yeah.
what they were. It was ABC, CBS, NBC, right? And then it was a big deal when they added Fox. Fox was kind of the crazy one.
Yeah.
the crazy broadcaster, and then
Yes.
obviously new channels, sprung up, and the birth of basic cable, and then 24-hour, specialty programming, whether it's all food, or there's that great joke in
Mm-hmm.
Anchorman. It's like, what do you mean sports all day? They wrote a channel about that, and now we're seeing kind of like this. There's such, to your point, such an explosion of content, where it is almost, you can't watch everything. It would take, infinite amount of lifetimes to consume everything. It is impossible, and thus
Yeah.
I think there is, almost like, my wife and I talk about, we started dating right when Tinder came out, or maybe like a little bit before its kind of explosion, and how, we don't know if we would have stayed together at the point at, when Tinder came
Right.
out, because there was such a paralysis of choice. It was like almost the way you're describing TikTok: person, 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 person.
Yeah.
Versus just like, yeah, I'm dating one or two, maybe three people,
Mm-hmm.
kind of seeing how, whatever, who do I like the best, or one at a time, and I think that, so I guess I want to bring this all back to, I am curious, with the death of the monoculture,
Mm-hmm.
how, does your son, because my kids are too young to even understand, any of these higher level concepts, but like obviously Heath knows, oh, there are like thousands of artists to follow, if not tens of thousands, if not millions. Does
Mm-hmm.
he ever feel like, oh, it's a shame that there's not like one big event or one big person that half the country is watching, and
It's gone. I mean, the thing is, he can't miss what he never experienced. I mean, I think we could probably analyze this forever, except then there'll be more technological innovations. But I remember when he was 3, and we were very light on. He never had. This is iPads were way too expensive to give one to my 2-year old back then. You know what I mean? So he was very light on being able to watch anything up until like 3, 4, whatever. It was all, there were a lot of limits, and I remember, here and there, it'd be like, oh yeah, you can watch a show, you can watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and we would pull it up off the old television. Maybe it was broadcast, or then I'd be like, hey, let's watch Ninjago on Netflix, right? But for the most part, I think he was able to just simply like select episodes, right? And
sure,
then one time we were visiting at an Airbnb, and we were watching cable TV, proper linear cable, and we had a show on, and I'm literally going through the channel guide. I found him something to watch. I'm like, here you go, knock yourself out. And then he's like, skip to the next episode, skip to the next episode, and I'm like, no, this is linear, this is broadcast or whatever. So I think, and he's almost 14, like, so I think, yeah, it's just, I think he only knows Spotify, man. Like, even, it's funny to literally get into the fact that what he's into, like 6 7, that's a vernacular. He loves rap. Just explaining to him, because he'll find the old stuff. I mean, the funny thing is the library's out there, so he'll find, MF Doom's pretty old. I played him Tribe Called Quest and stuff like that. And one of the craziest things was trying to explain to him, like, you're listening to Tribe, but I gotta tell you, like, Tribe Called Quest was brilliant because they created a. It was the full album. It was track 1 through 13, like, and you had to start when it started and ride that whole thing out, and just explaining to him how that is. I mean, think about the White Album. The White Album is not like, oh yeah, here's a couple tracks. No, you were supposed to hear that whole the Quadrophenia. Like, that's been a real trip, is just explaining to him what was the quote, I think, the lost art of the whole full album. And it's funny too. They kind of know it too, because then they'll hear about somebody on YouTube will be like, oh yeah, I collect the albums because of the beautiful cover art you got from something physically that large. So I feel like he's a little aware of some of those things, but it's hard for him to miss what he never truly experienced, or more importantly, he wasn't like stuck in the lanes by.
well, but it's, I'm actually like pleasantly surprised to hear that he's still discovering kind of music from your youth, because I think that that's what I was wondering too, like, does it still kind of get passed down? I mean, I'm a person born in 1985. My parents were born in 1956, and I had a lot of exposure to the Beatles and
Hmm.
James Taylor and Led Zeppelin and Eric Clapton and uh, um, a lot of Motown artists, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye.
Hmm.
I'm just going to list everybody. And it was probably simpler because there was a smaller crew of artists, but they kind of made it to me, and now I'm passing on some of them, to my kids. I think I'm a millennial. They've had teachers and counselors who are maybe my age, Gen X, not probably no boomer instructors, but my daughter did a camp a few summers ago that featured Motown, and then one that featured disco music, and so like these traditions they do get passed on, but it is interesting because not all of it, right? Like you have to then you start to select, which if we want to go all the way back, I like talk because I was an English major. You look at like Shakespeare. Shakespeare had a lot of contemporaries who we've never heard of and we will never hear of. He's the one,
Hmm.
It's like, all right, we'll just package it all in, William Shakespeare, and that's kind of like the era. I took a Renaissance drama class in college. This is really fascinating stuff, huh? And,
Were
and
you reading a lot of Ben Jonson?
yeah, he was in there. This was my takeaway. So I really, I got to be honest, like it was really, I was out of my depth with a lot of this high level academic literature from, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But the thing I remember, this was my big epiphany in college, was I had this like PhD professor at the front of the class talking. She just kept talking about excrement and filth and excrement and filth, and I was like, "This is the thing from the 1600s. It's all about shit, literal shit." And then I connected it to because people would always say, "Oh, South Park, it's so disgusting, it's so lowbrow, and it's just
Hmm.
farts and shit and poop."
Right,
And I was
right,
like,
right.
"Oh, maybe this will be what looked at in some hoity-toity cultural artifact hundreds of years from now, if it survives in the way that we look at stuff from the 1600s, because my understanding is that Shakespeare was kind of for the people. It was kind of just
Yeah.
like going to the like going to see Armageddon at the theater. It was just like people yelling at the stage, and it wasn't a high-end ticket the way it is now.
Oh,
And
they would
so
like
anyway,
spray
that
pig's blood at the audience to
yeah.
like simulate the murders and stuff. I
Yeah.
think what's funny is like when you there's this false perception of like, okay, well the classics are flawless and invaluable and anything new is of no value. Like I don't I feel like that's literally a resistance that an older generation has to a younger generation. And I wonder if it's more rooted in stuff like ceding power. As I said in this fantastic Substack post that I did today, Dad Hack, Dad Fail, like I was like, embrace it. Like, and I'm watching these young kids in college, right? Children, they're freaking children to us, Neil. And they're like, oh, not Skibbity Toilet. And I'm like, you need to get down for Skibbity Toilet. Like, don't you care about the 18 to 34 demo? I worked in TV. It's all about money. Like it's really funny to me how people can something gets stuck is from the past is somehow perfect and flawless and I in some sort of ideal as we kind of look at with a certain kind of political movement, like, oh, I missed the America before. I'm like, come on, dude,
Sure.
it was never perfect then, it's not perfect now, it's never going to be perfect. Like,
Well, let me
I,
ask you about that though, right? Because obviously there is, I think there is still value in the past and learning from the past and looking at it in a way that is, acknowledging that it's not perfect, but there's something you can learn. Are there like movies or TV shows or music that you've tried to share with Heath that he goes, "Oh, that's cringe," or "That's problematic," or "That's
it's funny. The cringe happens, and then he's gotten over it. Like, I'm pretty sure we were watching some stuff, and like, look, it's almost like the perception. It's asking, a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. You could almost ask yourself this: when you were 6 or 7, what did you like? Did that change when you became 10, 12, 15, 25? And I've seen that with him. I remember being like, "Oh, let me play a gladiator," because as a dad, you get real excited, like, "Oh, I want you to watch Top Gun just like I did. You're gonna be just like me, and you're gonna play professional baseball." But whatever, and like, there was definitely a time where it's like, yeah, that's kind of cringe or whatever, and I'm like, good point. Some things don't age well, as we know. There are certain movies that we're like, oh, let's show this, and you're like, this is racist, this is inappropriate or whatever. But somehow he's kind of gotten over it. What's really interesting is he's just in an era where he's consuming stuff to me like literally on an adult level in terms of movies and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I
Which is
just think
kind of on track, right? I mean, he's in eighth grade.
yes, he's in eighth grade. He's
Eighth
totally in
grade.
eighth grade. He's reading
Right.
Lord of the Flies. He read Animal Farm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
in
and I
fact,
remember, like, being in was it seventh or eighth grade when I saw Good Will Hunting, which again, still to this day, as a 40-year-old man, is my favorite movie. I won't retire it. I'm not gonna let anything take its
I've
place.
softened to that movie. At first, I
Yeah.
was jealous of
Look,
it.
I mean, well, I think part of it too is like, when I saw it. Perhaps if I was your age, at the time, I would have felt, not the same way. But I think I was like 12 or 13, and it made such an impression on me. Other films I saw like really early on in high school, still like these are the formative times, and I'll just tell you, it was like Shawshank Redemption, Clerks, Chasing
Yeah,
Amy. I
yeah,
read
we're
Chasing
right there.
Amy
We're
before. I
right
mean,
there.
so
Yeah, yeah.
but okay, so yeah, I wanted to share with you, I think part of the beautiful thing about, and we're in this time where culture is kind of under attack and it's being politicized, although you could argue that art is always political, right? Even when it presents as apolitical. But I think part of the cool thing about books and movie and TV or just storytelling in general is it can be a thing that connects generations, right? It can be a thing that divides generations, but so my daughter read Matilda. She is learning to read beyond just graphic novels. She's reading chapter books. One of the chapter books we gave her was Matilda by Roald Dahl, who
Mm.
also I've come to learn is, I guess, kind of a problematic figure in some ways. But the book Matilda, classic, and she really enjoyed it. And she was kind of recounting different details, to me throughout the process. And then just the other day, my wife said, "Hey, you guys want to watch Matilda? Not the musical version, but the one that I grew up with Mara Wilson and Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman." And I got to tell you, my 5 and 7-year-old, they were in stitches. They were angry at points at the parents who were really just not kind, and not thoughtful. And do you know the story of Matilda, Ollie?
Now, you know what's weird? For some reason, I never read any
Oh
Roald
man.
Dahl.
So I got to tell you,
Roald Dahl.
like, this holds up. And so the four of us were watching
Watch
Matilda,
Matilda.
and it's such a beautiful, funny, fun movie. And you have two, 40 somethings and a 5 and 7-year-old all just in awe, enjoying this on multiple levels at the same time. It's a story about a young girl who has a mother and father who are really just obsessed with wealth and looks, and they look down on people who read books, and they're mean and they lie. And Danny DeVito, he's a brilliant actor, and he plays this kind of the used car salesman who is literally selling lemon cars on purpose. And Rhea Perlman is kind of this wife who's just obsessed with looks, and they eat TV dinners in front of the TV every night. And Matilda is just a young girl who wants to learn to read and go to school, and her parents look down on that, and ultimately she finds power in books and reading, and she finds a teacher who takes her under her wing, and it's a beautiful story. And spoiler, she finds that she can like move things with her mind, and it's all just it's a lot about like a story about empowerment and kind of overcoming evil, and it's just
And
I'll say, like,
telekinesis.
huh?
And telekinesis.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But I got to say, like, oh man, our Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito, just like the perfect comedic villains you can imagine. They are hilarious. They are hilariously mean, and just their jokes, they just holds up, decades later. Almost like it's like the equivalent of like the master of the house couple in Les Mis, if you've ever seen that, kind of like they're like the comic relief, but such a great movie. And so here's a piece of here. I mean, when was Matilda written? Let's see, Matilda,
Are they still married?
uh,
Davey and Rhea Perlman?
1988. Okay, so I was 3
88.
years old, and here we are, almost 4 decades later, and we're all enjoying this story together. And I'm sure, perhaps, my kids will show their kids, a version of Matilda, with maybe this one or a remake or, and I think that's kind of the beauty of these types of stories. I am reading Harry Potter for the first time,
Yeah.
we're on book two with my daughter, and finding it interesting. I'm not like, whoa. Perhaps if I had been exposed to it at a young age, it would have had more of an
Well,
impact.
adults fell for that thing too.
Yeah.
I remember when that thing came out. I haven't read since the 8th grade, to be honest. But yeah, the Harry Potter thing was real. This was all stuff. You want to talk about cringe and dated? Heath started to. I think he was reading it and he was watching the movies. He ended up catching up watching all the movies. He got super into it. We went to Harry Potter World at Universal Studios Florida. More on that later. But you watch those original Harry Potter movies, and we're talking 98, 99 doesn't seem like that long ago, but ooh, that movie. You want to talk about cringe? They definitely, the production value, technology had changed as that canon kind of moved forward. So yeah, no, Potter. Yeah, he liked it though. Oh, the ride.
All right,
the
so
ride.
I've designed a few different tests for you, Ollie, because
All right.
and to be totally honest, I'm putting you on the spot because I um I don't know a lot of these, but I do the work ahead of time to kind of put the creative together. So here we are. I'm going to test your ability to define current slang.
Yeah.
Are you
Ooh.
ready to
Oh,
play
okay.
new slang?
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
We're
great
calling
song.
New slang.
Great song.
Do you
Great
think we
song.
can get the rights to the jingle?
I mean, you just do your little thumb thing.
Yeah.
Screen.
All right.
Screen capture.
So this is welcome to New Slang, a game where we test whether or not Ali Khan can define new slang words and phrases. Are you ready?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to give you a
basically.
new slang, and you tell me the definition. Ready?
Yeah, okay.
Bet
Yes.
means okay. It means you agree. So
Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Ready? Sus.
That's basically suspect, fishy, not, doesn't seem above board.
Correct. No cap.
I'm not lying.
Correct. Flex.
Showing off.
Correct. Drip.
Clothing.
Yeah, like a stylish outfit. We'll accept.
Yeah.
Goat.
Grays of all time.
Yes. Ghosting.
Say what? Ghosting?
Ghosting.
Oh, avoiding. Avoiding.
Yeah, cutting someone off
Yeah.
without communicating it. Slaps.
It's excellent, very good, delicious.
Really, really doing well here. All right, it's about to get a little bit harder. You ready?
Oh, is that it? Really? Did you have your Chat GPT slave make it harder on me? Is that bad?
Chuggy.
Dude, I've never heard that word. I have a 13-year-old. Chuggy?
Chuggy.
No. I'm going to ask for a definition, please.
Okay, chuggy means trying too hard to be trendy or outdated. It's kind of chuggy.
This is, look, what's really awesome about this is I get to, this is actually a sneak peek on Dad Fail, because literally, as much as 6'7" is in the mix right now for Heath, when I bring up, Skibbity Toilet, when I bring up, I don't know, whatever the other ones were, he'll just be like, what? And he goes, I'm like, what, Heath? You were saying that just a year or two ago. And he's like, exactly. I'm like,
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, I think when it's bubbled up to the Today Show, it's over, and so I think 6-7 is probably over, as they constantly talk about it on the Today Show. And yes, I watch
facts.
daily.
Yeah.
Okay, vibe check.
Vibe check. I mean, again, it's interesting because when there are words he doesn't use, it's hard for me not to take a stab here. Vibe check
What do you think?
Seems like it literally seems like a check in on one's emotional state.
Exactly. See,
I mean,
it's not that hard.
well, yeah. But it's weird
right.
because I don't have the context. It does help to have, like, I've never heard him say Chugi. Can't wait to spring this one on him at pickup today.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, bet that. Bet that.
I mean, I know bet is like when it's like some sort of affirmation. I feel like if he said bet that, I feel like that would be his response to being like, do you want just to get Raising Cane's tonight? So I feel like he'd be like saying something like, yes, I concur. I'm with that plan. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. We'll accept. The definition of bet that is you got it.
Yeah.
All right, snack.
Jesus, this is so weird, but I feel like a fool not to state the obvious.
Please.
A small treat.
No, a snack. Very, very good try. A snack is someone who is attractive. A good-looking person is a snack.
We'll have to unpack more on that later in a future episode
okay.
because I don't know if those feelings have bubbled up yet where that would be. You know what I mean? Just saying.
Well, I'm just asking. Look, it doesn't.
No. But I mean the ultimately this entire test is about peering into how I communicate with my kid, which is very fascinating.
Sure.
Continue.
Okay, Stan.
Stan?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's like a chuggy. I'm like, I don't know.
You know Stan. Remember the Eminem song?
I don't know. Is he a psycho, a lunatic?
Kind of like an obsessive fan. You're a Stan. I stand that.
Interesting.
I'll give you credit. All right, shook. What is shook?
I assume something along the lines of like, hold on, shook. I feel like it's like shaken up but not traumatized. I don't know. Yeah.
Shocked or surprised, we'll accept.
I was shook. But I feel like there's something in it where it's like, I'm shook, but I'm not like scared. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Okay.
I don't know.
You're kind of extending it. I just needed the definition of shook.
I know.
All right. What about when someone says hits different? That hits different.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I just feel like it's uniquely special.
Correct. Big yikes. Big yikes. What does big yikes mean?
I don't. I mean, literally, I just want to use the Tom and Jerry phrase, "Eek." You know, like, ugh, cringy. Feels like it's cringy.
That's right. Low key.
Kind of, demure, incognito. Subtle.
Secretly, yeah. High key.
Brash, obvious, over the top.
Man, you're killing it. You are
I mean, some of this stuff is like not chuggy. Look, dude, the really crazy things are like no cap. What's funny is it started out with Heath saying cap to me a lot, and my friend was like, "Dude, is he saying you're lying?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I tell a lot of tall tales. Tell a lot of, I do. I'm full of cap, to be honest."
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What are receipts? When someone says receipts, what are they asking for?
Proof of purchase.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Really? Check the receipts?
Well, I mean, receipts. They want proof. If you
They want record. I'm looking for a written record.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this. This is fun.
What's a finsta?
A finsta.
What's a finsta?
I mean, the most truthful thing I can say is I've not heard that word before. However, I do enjoy kind of trying to figure this out. Like, finsta to me is like, it sounds like it could relate to being offensive, but then it also makes me think of Finster from Usual Suspects. You know what I mean? Who's a mumbler.
Okay.
I say, I'll flip you for real.
Yeah, I think you're showing your age here. A Finsta is a fake Insta, a private Instagram account for close friends, or that you use to kind of check in on other Instagrams.
So we have a social media account ban at this house. As you know, Heath has a phone, and one of the first things he said is, "Oh, I'd like to get Snapchat." And we were like, So that's where
No,
we're at. That's
Ollie,
where we're at.
you may need to explore whether or not he has a Finsta.
Oh, we are. I think I have like 15 monitors that probe all
Okay,
his
okay,
devices now. But yeah, go on, go on. Good
You
stuff.
may know this one. What does it mean to be ratioed? What is ratioed?
It's weird. It's a word I've never heard. Ratio.
Okay.
I don't know. Sized up.
No. Ratioed is when a social media post gets way more negative attention than positive reactions. You've been ratioed.
We've had some experience with that, haven't we?
We've been ratioed. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You know what's weird? This is interesting because when it's related to social media activity, I am because he doesn't have it, so that's where I'm clueless. So there's
Okay,
that.
I mean, you've been on social. You're with it. You're in the conversation.
My demos, a third of it is 55 plus. For Christ's sakes, Neil. For Christ's
Yeah.
sakes.
Well, I hope you're selling them some, catheters or burial
You know.
cloths.
I mean, some of it just might be AARP advice, but whatever.
All right, just a couple more. Sheesh.
I mean, sheesh. I don't know. Is G's an acceptable answer? Like G's?
I'm being told it's an expression of amazement or hype. Sheesh.
So more positive. I would have
Yeah.
assumed it would have been more negative. I
Yeah,
feel like that's like a I don't know.
Because I thought sheesh is like, oh, sheesh. Like, oh, boy. Oh,
Yeah.
bother. But no.
Yeah.
No. Apparently.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one, main character energy.
Wow. Now this is something that I think he would have said, but it's too many syllables. Main character energy. I don't know. It just feels like someone who's heroic. I don't know.
So main character energy, it's like acting like you're the star of your own movie, story, whatever.
Oh, so it's more
After
diva-ish.
recording. Yeah, I think that's, yes. Yeah, main character energy. And that's new slang, folks.
All right, so Chugi, Stan, Shook. Oh, I can bring this up. Main character energy. These are some ones I'm going to try and bring into the mix.
Okay.
It could be a future dad fail. I mean, if I could try and do this and then do the Substack post.
Yeah.
But I've got some others because when I
Okay.
brought up everything else.
You ready for another game?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
here for the games.
This is real or fake fashion trends. I'm going to say a fashion trend. You tell me if it's real or fake.
Okay. All right.
Glow-in-the-dark shoelaces.
Real.
Fake.
Really? That should be. Do you remember what were the shows that shoes that glowed in the dark? I remember those things.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not a trend anymore. We're talking about current trends. We're trying to stay current. All right. Tie-dyeing everything. Is that a real or fake fashion trend?
Fake.
Real.
I don't see anyone doing this. There's a regional component here.
Hey, look, sorry. This is Isaac the intern, did all the research. So.
Totally.
Wearing socks as gloves. Is this a real or fake fashion trend?
It's got to be fake.
It's fake. Congratulations.
Okay. Yeah. I just had to. Yeah. I'm not gonna get
Neon hair highlights. Real or fake fashion trend?
You know what? There was a time where I don't know if it was neon, but he did do some coloring. I think because of K-pop. So I'm gonna say yes.
Yes, it's a real fashion trend.
Yeah.
On the youths.
Yeah.
LED light up hoodies. Have you seen any of these?
No. So I'm gonna say no.
Correct. It's fake. Very good. Layering tutu skirts over jeans. Is this a new fashion trend?
It's funny, like not in my kid's school. So no. I don't think it's a trend.
Fake fashion trend.
Fake fashion.
Wearing dad sneakers. Chunky dad sneakers. Is this a real or fake fashion trend?
My kid would be mortified if he had to wear my shoes.
Sorry to tell you.
So I'm going to say no.
It's real. It's real.
It is?
It's real. It's a real fashion trend. Yeah.
Who wears them? Like I don't know. It's weird.
Cool kids. I don't know. Cool people who are cool. Uh, bucket hats. Are bucket hats among
Yes,
you?
yes, yes.
Correct.
Heath is about
Correct.
bucket hats. Yeah,
Yes.
100. Oh my god. Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay. Wearing plaid kilts and Crocs. Is this a new fashion trend?
I mean, again, I'm gonna say no because I don't see it, but
Yeah.
that's the thing. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I mean, yeah, that's what's hard about this. I think there's some regional components too. I think it's about the
Don't
kid you
overthink it.
have.
You're correct.
All right,
It's not a fashion trend.
all right, fine, fine.
All right.
I'm ruining it.
Oversized hoodies with cargo pants.
I think that's a thing. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
real. It's real.
yeah. They're going baggy. Heath is he's into the baggy, and he is a skinny kid, but still, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Tiny rectangle sunglasses. Wearing sunglasses that are too tiny for your face.
No, I'm gonna say that's not a thing.
Ooh, unfortunately, that is an actual trend. I apologize.
My kid doesn't wear sunglasses. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Okay. Graphic tees with obscure memes.
I'm gonna say no. Because
It's a trend. They're saying
where do
it's a
you
trend.
buy these things? All right, go on.
Jelly shoes. Are jelly shoes making a comeback?
Like jelly bean vans or something like that.
You know, like the jellies. Like jellies. You know, you used to wear them to the beach. Jellies. They're like sandals that are, kind of feel like rubber jelly. You don't remember these?
No. It sounds like it's born in reality, but at the same time, I'm gonna say no. It's not a trend.
Very good, Ali Khan. This is a fake trend. It has not made a comeback. Jellies, although I
It's
kind
a
of wish they would.
50-50, Neil.
Yeah,
Jesus.
well, whatever. I'm still impressed by the logic. Bike shorts and oversized tees. Real or fake?
I'm gonna say that's fake.
That's real, apparently. Yeah, it's a trend. Bike shorts and oversized t-shirts.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Oversized glitter face masks.
Face masks.
Yeah. Is this happening?
Oh, like when you sleep or something like that? Is
I don't
it-
know.
oh, that-
Just, like glitter masks. Are people wearing these? Are they used?
Yes, it's real. It's real. It's real.
No, it's fake.
Yes, I was just trying to
Yeah.
go for
It's
the
so
gut.
hard. It's so much easier when I'm the host. And now, last one, holographic onesies. Are kids wearing holograph onesies to
This
school?
does not exist.
That's correct. You are right. That is not a trend. So, what'd you say? Out of 16, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wrong. So, a little bit over 50%. So, congratulations. You're kind of in the know fashion-wise. Although, as you said, it's a 50-50 shot. And you did a little bit better than 50-50. So,
Yeah, I mean, in the academic world, I failed. But I'm telling you, there are some things that I could definitively at least say, yes, I've experienced this, and then there are just things that I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. I think
Yeah.
I want to say there is a regional component to it.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Ollie, we've had a lot of fun here today. But this is the youth episode and the youth trends. And one of the greatest artists of our time said, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. And so, what do the youth actually care about? We did some research on the old Google machine. What do the kids care about, right? And I'm going to tell you 5 things beyond just fashion and slang and movies and music that the kids care about. Are you ready? These are the top
Yeah.
5 things that the youth actually care about. Number
Okay.
1, mental health. Okay? Approximately 20% of adolescents aged 12 to 17 have a current diagnosed mental or behavioral health condition. Anxiety is the most common with 16.1%, and depression follows with 8.4%. So, teens today have very much shown a desire for better mental health support resources. Definitely something that did not exist when I was a kid. There was no conversation about mental health at all. But the teens, this is a trend, hopefully a trend that continues. The number one thing that the youth care about is mental health. The number two thing is climate change and the environment. So a survey from 2019 found that 41% of people aged 18 to 25 in 22 countries, so this is a global survey, considered climate change one of the most important issues facing the world.
When was this survey again?
2019. What, you think they don't care anymore 6 years later?
I think there's more disinformation in
Mm.
2025.
Okay, fair
And
enough.
that
Don't,
was quite, I mean, 6 years ago.
yeah.
Just
Well,
saying,
young
you
people
know.
cared then.
But global, that does, I don't know, hopefully. I don't know. The world's a
All
crazy
right.
place.
Well, let's bring it a little bit more recent. This is from a study in 2024. The number three issue that the youth care about is LGBTQ plus rights and gender equality. So, despite what you're seeing from the manosphere and maybe the young Republican Nazi chats happening all over the place, the majority, over 60% of the youth in America actually care very much about LGBTQ plus rights and gender equality, being more robust in the United States of America. So that's something that the youth care about.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, part of me is like worried about the a young, less empathetic movement. It's the best way for me to describe
Yeah.
it. I wonder about that.
Well, and I wonder if we always kind of demonize the next generation and worry that they're all kind of evil. You look at like a Clockwork Orange, it's like, oh, they're all going to just attack us and kill
I
us. And
mean,
maybe not.
honestly, look, when was it? When did the Supreme Court basically legalize gay marriage? I thought we were past this, and
We were. Although, I mean, if you look at history, right, didn't Jim Crow kind of follow the eradication of slavery in America? And so there's often two steps forward, one step back. Not to kind of dismiss it, but I think
that's
it
true.
is not a new phenomenon to try to kind of take back power from folks who were disenfranchised and gain power, and the who were oppressing them before go, hey, I want that power back. The number four issue important to the youth today: social media's impact and privacy concerns. So, a study on teens' privacy on social media found that 28% of teens with public accounts experience fear related to privacy, and they've indicated a essential need for more privacy controls. So, we talk about this a lot. I think we often like to joke, oh, our phones are listening to us, but this actually is very relevant to the next generation who grew up online, right? Like our digital didn't necessarily even start until our 20s or 30s. But these kids who, are making mistakes on the web in front of everyone are very much concerned with what does that mean for their future and just the future of society. So social media and privacy.
You know what's so weird? I didn't like start my social media. Well, no, that's not true. I mean, if I were to take out Friendster and MySpace, technically I didn't start till I was 30 with Facebook. But Insta, I was already in my well into the 30s, almost mid. That's kind of weird. Kind of
What is
weird.
mid? What does mid mean?
Mid. Oh, mid's average. Did you not ask me that? Oh,
No.
mid is. You know what's weird? Oh, some of these things, like slaps, mid, hits different. Literally, I've used a bit in food conversation, in my more modern takes on criticism. Mostly because I like to take the air out of the balloon of the stuffy traditional food writers who are, I think, vastly becoming less and less more relevant. Ooh, hot take.
Right. Hey, speaking of yeah, youth. The number five issue that is relevant to teens and young people today is believe it or not, the economy and financial concerns. A survey by EdChoice found that over half of teens, 56% of teens, have cited economic issues, taxes, wages, jobs, inflation, as some of the most important issues to them in their future. So, you know, it's how can this whole thing of like, well, we could buy a house when we were your age. It's like, well, yeah, is this our fault or is it your fault that you
I
didn't set
mean,
us up for it?
the last five, really since probably it started in 21, but like in the last couple of years, and for a variety of reasons, I think Heath is not only aware of, just the cost of things, how things are expensive. We talk about it all the time, essentially complaining about it, if you will. We're pretty reserved for a variety of reasons. But he's also manifested, I think, that concern to a degree of how he thinks about what his profession will be, because he's literally eyeing potential professions because of financial stability, or really financial gain, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, it's kind of the money, the money, but the fear of money is real. Will we have enough?
Yeah. Turns out money's just made up, huh? We just made it up.
I mean, what did you ever see? Oh God, I watch that movie all the time, about the financial crisis,
Big Short?
crash.
Big Short?
That was the more accurate one. There's a sleeper one with, the new Mr. Spock, and Kevin Spacey's in it, and oh man, it's
Too
escaping
Big
me
to
right now.
Fail? Is it called Too Big to Fail?
No, 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 no. It's oh my God, what is the Kevin Spacey finance movie? It's if you've not seen it, it's a real
All right, well,
margin call. Margin call.
oh, yes, I've heard about that. Okay.
Oh, highly recommend. It's
Yeah,
a good
maybe
one.
I'll put it in what
Two
that
cheese in
wants.
it. Yeah,
All
there
right.
you go.
Look, I think we did it. I think we're young and hip now, and all the cool kids are going to be saying I've got Riz.
Yeah, yeah. That's one that's really yeah. Riz, Ohio Riz. Those are all the new up. That'll be the dad fails
All right.
that'll come out this afternoon. Riz.
Ohio Riz? What is Ohio Riz?
So this is the thing: is some of this stuff like Skibbity Toilet. There's no absolute need for a definition. It's just simply like a word that needs to be like constantly said, much like watching a TikTok video where it's just like there's no point, it just is, and we deal
Okay.
with it and accept it. It's kind of like listening to a Tenacious D song, you know? Like, there was never really a reason to listen to Tenacious D, but they went and made that music anyways.
Okay.
Think about
On
that.
that note, what very very timely, relevant reference for our youth episode. Thanks for
Yeah.
listening, everyone.
Love you, Jack Black.